You are listening to the Shit You Can't Make Up podcast, a conversation with friends, hosted by Marisol Sanchez.
Hey folks, this is Sean, the producer of this episode. You'll hear from me at the end of the podcast. Just a small warning and setup. This episode contains explicit content. Yes, I said explicit content. So if you are Marisol's family, close friends, or associated with her Girl Scout troop, please stop now. Don't listen to avoid any emotional scarring. Otherwise, enjoy as Marisol sits down with the hilariously filthy musical comedy duo, the Reformed Whores. Enjoy.
Hey, I am just going to start right on in because I'm nervous and I have my drink.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
I want to welcome the Reformed Whores to Shit You Can't Make Up.
Yay! Hi!
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, my name's Marie Cecile Anderson. I'm Katie Frey.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh,
so
thank you for coming to our hotel room and chilling on the carpet.
Oh, God, I love my life.
Oh, that's awesome.
I really do. So I was telling you this story. I'm going to start it and tell you the whole story. I think things happen for a reason. I've gotten really weird in my 40s, like with, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Thus I have a podcast.
Yeah.
And so I think it was last week, I was at Dead Crow Comedy, and I saw your poster, Reformed Whores, and I was in the bathroom. And I was like, holy shit, because I'm writing a personal essay about the word whore. And it's taken me about a couple months, really. I haven't published it yet because it's me analyzing my views on this word that I love. Mm-hmm. I love the word whore.
What have you concluded? Yeah.
Well, there were 3 moments in my life that I was like, okay, I need to look at this. Moment 1 was after I had twins 15 years ago. And when they were toddlers, I went on a beach trip with the girls. Mm-hmm. White suburban housewives gone crazy. Not really, but that's what for a weekend. And we were playing that game, password, like something comes up.
Pictionary?
No. A word comes up and you have to guess. The people guess what it is. Mm-hmm. So the person, I was drunk, like exhausted years of like all my sadness and frustration. And they're like, sometimes I feel like the answer being nut, right? Mm-hmm. And I scream out amongst all these moms that I barely knew, whore. And it was, and it was so authentic. It was like an authentic, like, ooh. So that was moment 1. Packed it away, didn't think about it again. Mm-hmm. Moment 2, was watching Narcos recently. Have you watched Narcos on Netflix?
No. I watched the first episode, yeah.
Okay. It's about Pablo Escobar, and they translate, or they have the captions for the whole show. And I noticed that they said, hija de puta, which is daughter of a whore. Mm-hmm. So much more than they actually transcribed. Like, they would say fucker, or they would change. I'm like, and I realized to myself, I was like, my culture, Latin culture, we grew up hearing that. That's in our dialect. That's how I was just, and I was like, I really need to, analyze that. Yeah. And then moment 3 is my sex life, which I'm not going to do too much detail, but my ex-boyfriends probably can attest that I was, trying to figure some shit out about the word whore. And then one of my best friends, I did write something a few months ago, and I got the most feedback from, negative feedback, the title was The Madonna Whore Complex.
Yes, you know about this. Mm-hmm.
And I was writing about it, and I was actually writing about the actual complex, but so many people were like, oh, it's clickbait, and you were just being incendiary with the word whore. And I'm like, of that whole article, that's what
you take away from that? Yeah. It's so crazy how that word whore either, shuts people down or makes them engaged. It's like either or. It's like,
well, I think that it's a really loaded word, and it's and we've actually had some pushback too from actual sex workers after there was a couple. Amanda Palmer, I don't know if you know who that is, but she shared one of our videos, which was so awesome, and we love Amanda Palmer so much. But she has a lot of fans that are, some are sex workers or prior sex workers. So we got a lot of pushback, and they were saying that's a really offensive word, and it's derogatory. And we're like, we get it. Yeah, it is. And that's sort of the point. And the thing is, just because you're a sex worker for real, doesn't mean that word isn't a word that we have to face too as just being women on this planet. So, I think it is our word to either take back or at least analyze and you get called it. I mean, it's a derogatory term for a woman, period.
And I love that. I think all that is absolutely true. And then I'm 43 and I'm at the point of, okay, but there's a part of me that fundamentally feels like a whore. And I love her.
Yeah, right. Being free, being sexually free, or just being able to say and do what you want.
And just being authentic to like, okay, I'm sexual and that's not
and don't apologize for it. And I think that's really where we're coming from too. When we started the band, we met randomly at a party in Brooklyn and just really hit it off. Just instantly had girl crushes on each other and wanted to hang out again. And in some funny way, we had both mentioned we played these instruments and we're like, let's start a band. And so we met the next week and started writing these songs. And from our personal experiences at that time, it was like we were going through relationship problems and dating and experimenting, with sex and all that sort of stuff. And it slowly, the name of the band came pretty early, and it kind of, formed what we were going to be singing about and what the brand of the band is. And,
and we're both like strong, independent women who, I went to an all-girls college too, so like sexuality was like a really big hot topic, and female sexuality, obviously, not just sexuality, but, and just it's so interesting to me though that like, we have to then come to this word whore if we want to say that we are sexual beings.
Right.
Like that's put on us. Mm-hmm. That's not something we choose. We don't choose that word. If you are a woman in this culture, and other cultures too, and you like to have sex and you like to be open about your sexuality, you are labeled a whore. Mm-hmm. So,
but as a man, you get a pat on the back.
Yes. So that's sort of also where the name is like, and that's kind of what I was trying to explain to the sex worker too, is that we're using the word to open a dialogue. It's not to like make fun of you as a sex worker. We're actually saying like, let's protect you as a sex worker and let's protect us as not sex workers and as women, and like, let's get this out in the open. And then, and then maybe the word, we can take some of the charge off the word, and then it's just another word in the dictionary.
And I go even further to say, like, if you're going to be a feminist, you have to really go all the way back and analyze. And it's like, kind of, we are conditioned to be whores. I mean, that's what marriage is kind of, that's the contract. It's been that way for way before I ever was born. Like, if we're going to be honest, we've been conditioned to be bought and sold for our nurturing, our sex, or, everything. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's just,
it's in our nature, right?
I don't think the newer generation, have you noticed that? The younger generation, I think they've kind of evolved past that. They're much...
There's a whole other thing happening though now, where it's like, sex is like, means nothing now, or something like, it's like we've gone a little too far the other way maybe too. So like there's a balance.
Because I think the dating apps and stuff, like the grass is always greener, or like people are disposable. We were talking about this yesterday with those apps and stuff, and I think like that may be where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good or bad yet.
I think it's just the pendulum switch.
Yeah.
They're like just all pansexual now. I'm like, really? No, you're a slut.
But sluts are great. You know what I mean? Like whatever that is. And like, maybe we should be calling men sluts more often.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. That's a whole other podcast.
We're going to change the world.
Man sluts.
But, I'm going to put some videos up in the show notes and stuff, but you take songs, and every single one of your songs last night, I went to see your show at Dead Crow. You're playing tonight. This won't be up tonight, so it won't help.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
But, I can identify every single one of those songs. Like the Care Bear song.
Yeah.
It's like, like, you know how, Lady Gaga has like her little monsters? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what, I want to be like, I'm a little
Oreo. We have Oreos. Yeah. And then we have some double stuffed Oreos out in, Colorado. And where's Jason? He's in
Indiana.
Yeah. We have some super fans. It's great.
How long have you guys been doing this?
About 7 years. Yeah.
You're so good. You're really, really good.
Thank you.
I had a lot of fun. I brought a friend of mine, and I went to the 7 o'clock show. I usually go to the 9 o'clock show. Is it raunchier the 9 o'clock?
It was a little more rowdy for sure, which is great.
Next time.
Yeah.
But I just loved it. I identified. So the Care Bear song, do you want to talk a little bit? It's about masturbation.
Yeah, the first time experiencing masturbation. And like we both have two different kind of stories from our own lives, and we kind of combined them into this one song. And we think it's just so important to say that women masturbate as well. And like, cause I remember growing up, like we did not talk about it. We would talk about sex, birth control and that sort of stuff, but we would never talk about masturbating. Boys would be like wet dreams, all that sort of stuff. But us women, I grew up in Nashville and it was like, I was Christian and, people were very conservative around me. But it wasn't until college when I was talking with girlfriends getting drunk and like discussing like, well, when did you start? And like, one girl was like, oh my God, I've never done it. And it's just like, we're trying to open up this dialogue of like, women do it too. And it's not a bad thing. We all need to be doing it like all the time.
I'm a big advocate.
Because you get to know your body.
I don't know how women orgasm without having done that.
Oh, you can't. I mean, I think it's not, it's like luck or something. But I will say too that it's not just about women masturbating, and I know this not to be creepy or whatever, but it's also about girls going through puberty and also the guilt that a young girl feels about masturbating, because we also have impulses. It's not just men that have sexual impulses. It's like such a crazy concept. And so I know it's like makes people, like you're saying, boys talk about wet dreams. I mean, that's like I knew about boys.
They talk about that stuff.
But not even, it's funny, like in sex ed class, like they would full blown be like, and boys will have wet dreams. And then as a girl, you're like, well, what about me? I'm like, am I like a deviant? Cause I'm like touching myself at the age of like 12.
But when I grew up, they didn't talk about the boy stuff in my sex ed class because they split us up. It was like girls and boys. And so the only stuff that I heard about masturbation, wet dreams was from boys, and it was all a joke and like really silly and stuff. But even in our sex ed for women, they never talked about masturbation.
It hasn't changed much. I have a 15-year-old. I have 15-year-old twins, boy and a girl. Watching them experience, puberty, and the girls still get shamed. They're the ones that get quoted, and they have to dress, for
that
bed.
is happening in a crazy way now with like girls. And a girl has big boobs, right? She can't control that. So she wears a shirt that's like a size too big and it's still tight, and then she gets kicked out of school.
Right.
What is that?
It's insane. And so watching, it's still there. It hasn't evolved that much.
Yeah, right.
And the shame is attached to the girl, not to the boy.
Right.
Entitlement is given to the boy. Like, oh, that's completely normal. Go on.
That's how I felt, because they did talk about wet dreams in my class, and the problem was like but it was like, it's okay, boys, like you can feel okay with masturbating and you should feel open about it. And they never said the same thing to girls. Right. So then as a person who was masturbating at like in 6th grade or whatever, I was just like mortified. I was like, I'm broken. I'm like going to hell. Or I didn't think about hell so much, but I'm like, I'm a disgusting person. And it took me until high school when same thing, we're talking to some friends, and turned out we were all doing it, but everyone's shamed out of talking about it.
See, I was sexualized very early. Like I read something and I got turned on and I did it, and that changed my life. It was like, cause it's before, the iPhone, and you had 4 channels.
Wow.
Right. What I mean? You didn't have that much distraction.
Right.
So, and I had a shitty childhood, which is like what the blogs kind of, talks about a little bit. And there was an escape, and it was awesome, and it was wonderful. And I would get those Harlequin romance novels.
Oh yeah.
You get like 12 for like a penny. We'd move a lot. So I would get them, and I was raised in the church, so shame was, constantly, and then I remember thinking I thought men, women, gay men, I thought everyone was like just attractive. I could find anyone attractive, and I thought something was wrong with me. Like, ooh, that's, right. You're a bad person. And I thought of that for years. I'm now at the point where I'm like, it's one of my favorite things about me. It's like, own it, got it, love it.
Right.
But it took me 30-some years to get there.
Yeah. And that's also like, was a huge motivator in the band, was to be like, let's be a vocal piece for women that haven't gotten to where you are at yet, but they're feeling the exact same way. But like, then we can get up on stage, have a fun time, not make it too like whatever. But then these women can go like, with the amount of every age, the amount of women that come up and say like, I relate to what you're saying 100%. And I never tell my husband or something like that. And you're like, well, maybe you should start talking to him about it or whatever.
Well, last night, it was so awesome. This older couple came up to us, and we have this new song called Fuck It Bucket List about, like, make sure you do all the sexual things that you want to do in your life before you're dead. And this very old couple came up to us, and they were like, we check new things off every night. And like we both got chills because it's like we're speaking to such a wide range of people, and just, I don't know, it's just really exciting how much people can relate to what we're talking about.
It took me a long time to accept that I was a good person and a sexual person. Like those to me were such divergent ideas.
Right.
Now it's not like I'm a good person and I'm a sexual person, and if and when I find that partner, they're going to be lucky as fuck. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And you can find that person, and they have to also be feeling like confident and like sexual and good person. You know what I mean? Like, and then you find each other because it'll be like magnets or whatever.
But I think sex is one of the best things about being human. I mean, human being. So I'm like, and I'm also, my father's from Spain, so there's like and my mother's from Honduras, so there's a different, Spanish culture is a little more fucked up, I think, in some ways, because we grow up like in the songs and the music, passion and sexual, but at the same time we have that really big Christian, like, you're going to hell just for thinking about it. So it's like this weird dichotomy, but I think we should evolve a little bit more. We should be much further along at 2017 where the word whore is not...
Just want equality. Yeah. That's our main goal.
Let's do a protest.
Yeah.
Let's start one in Wilmington right now. So I'll make some signs, get some poster board. I always bring my crafts with me, so we're ready to go.
She does.
Masturbation for everyone.
Yeah.
Masturbate.
Bring your dildos. We'll walk the streets.
Wilmington.
Are we good on time? I didn't start.
Sorry. I'll keep my eye on it.
You keep your eye.
We're doing a radio thing later, but we wish we could stay here all day with you.
I don't have my kids this weekend, and it's Memorial Day weekend. So, and actually, it's the anniversary of would have been my wedding
anniversary. Oh wow,
16 years.
Oh my goodness! And you're going to celebrate tonight?
You know what? I'm not. I mean, I have children, so I can't say, I'm so happy I'm divorced, because it would,
Yeah.
I am happy that I had a successful marriage that ended.
Yeah.
And I have 3 beautiful children from it. But, do either of you have kids?
No, we're single. Single, ready to mingle.
Shocks me. You're both beautiful.
Thank you.
Like, you have to go check them out. Like, you look like an ethereal angel. You're so, like...
I am. I'm not really here.
Like, blonde and just really... And then you look like like, the reaction I got from you last night was, like, that sexy, like... Not MILF yet, but could be, like, that's a future
one day
MILF.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
One kid away from me.
That's very nice.
So, that was funny. So, do you like our first city of Wilmington?
It's beautiful. When the weather has been cooperating with us.
The Marines are sexy.
I just have a few more questions and I'll wrap it up. But, so I have a daughter, 15-year-old daughter, and she's super funny. We did a podcast together, and it's titled "My Daughter Called Me a Nazi." She's just she loves comedy.
Oh, that's amazing.
She is constantly telling me, I'm a huge fan of comedy. I'm not a comedian. But I love the creative process. I love how comedians use that art. I think it's an art form.
Oh yeah,
to process their shit. Sometimes it goes well. Sometimes not so much.
Yeah.
So, but I have this hard time saying to my daughter, like, go live your dream, be a comedian, because I think it's a hard life, especially for women. So I just wonder if you could tell me what it's like to be a comedian on the road. Like, what's that day to day for you guys?
Well, number one, we are so lucky because we are a duo and we have each other, because we do have a lot of stand-up friends and they travel by themselves all over the country. I think that it is hard, but the people that are really doing it, they love it and they work so hard at it. And they are like modern day philosophers, and I think that they are changing the world with the good jokes and stuff.
Also, I have just in terms of following your dreams in general, so not just specifically to comedy, but whatever it is to anybody, is that, like, we live in this world where there's, like, society has told us that a stable job is like working at an office or doing, something that's going to be a stable job. That's not true, because like people get fired every day. The economy shifts and some jobs become less important, like the miners or whatever. Like they're losing their jobs, so that used to be a stable job. So why then are you like busting your butt for something that where you're just getting taken advantage of by the man? Why not do something for yourself, whatever that is? If it's environmentalism, if it's being a scientist, if it's being an artist, if it's being a baker or whatever. I think that like more people need to be doing what they want to be doing and not what they feel like they should be doing. And everyone's going to fall into the right slot so that the world will still be moving in like a really great direction. So I do encourage people to do whatever. And in terms of our daily like travel, whatever, like when we travel, maybe like sometimes 2 weeks, 8 months. So like we're not home a lot, which makes it a little hard to date and stuff like that. But our lives are so cool. We were at the pool today, and then we get to go like spread our message like at night. We work a lot on other projects outside of just the live shows. So we have like video production stuff, and nowadays you can do so much big with the internet. We've been able to make 2 albums and things like that. So being able to just be creative in different ways is also useful, not only for the business, but for us like creatively. And then on top of it, just you have to be a good hustler. For comedy specifically, I think.
Well, so real quick, so your daughter wants to do stand-up?
She's never said that. She's just funny. I don't know how it's going to manifest itself or anything, but I don't see her doing a 9 to 5.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if she does, I just don't see her being happy about it.
Right.
It's her life, whatever she chooses to go, but I feel like she's definitely attracted to the creative world, but she hasn't dove in yet.
Does she do theater or anything yet? Yeah, nothing yet.
Well, another thought too is there's so much within comedy and the creative world that we didn't even realize existed, but things like writing jobs and things like, and then also producing your own content that can blow up and get big. Music, comedy, whatever. I mean, there's just like live stuff, video stuff, sketch, improv, there's lots of ways to get into it.
But I would encourage her, because one thing, we talk about this a lot with our parents and like growing up, and both of our parents really encouraged us to do the arts and stuff, but of course worried about security. But I'm trying to think for a 15-year-old who has maybe this untapped talent and love for it, like if you can encourage her to do a theater camp or like something that is a safe place that she can explore this creativity and gain confidence. Because even if statistics say like if you do theater, you are more likely to, go succeed. Really, there are
in anything,
like, in anything. Yeah. But find like a safe thing that she can do, enroll her in an improv class, or I think it's awesome that you guys have had a podcast together, because we are so lucky with our parents who do support us, but it has been really hard getting that support, and it's only because it's out of love and they want you to be secure and have money and be able to pay the bills and stuff. But
I completely relate to doing your I did the 9 to 5, and I still do for income. I get it. But that's not my passion. This. Right. When I was, I think I said it before the podcast, or maybe during the podcast, I'm like, I love my life. When I'm doing this, when I'm writing, when I'm, sharing whatever I'm creating, it's like, it's scary, but it's awesome.
Right. Well, not enough people do that, though. I feel like, because, we go home to, I go home to Nashville and stuff, and people are consultants and in sales, and to be honest, a lot of them are miserable. And I'm like, well, what do you want to be doing? And it's like writing or any type of creative thing, but they're scared. So fear really gets in the way of that. And like, we didn't know how to really do what we're doing now, but we took a leap of faith. And of course it was like absolutely terrifying when we did our first show. Like we were shaking. We thought we would drop our instruments, but we again had each other to make each other laugh. And then we thought we had something. And then, the proof was in the pudding. People loved it and then booked us on other things. And
also, what is life if not like conquering fears? You know what I mean? Like then you're not living. And if you do go after your go past your fear and through your fear, sometimes you're going to fail. Like that's what
we fail all the time.
People fail, but that's okay, because through failure is like growth. And if you want to like live a full life and be on your deathbed saying like I did it, like you shouldn't be worried about like am I making $10 an hour or like $20 an hour? Or am I making and I get there's practical stuff where yes, there is a time where you do have to worry about those things, but while you're doing that, what else are you doing in your life to enrich it and move forward so that maybe you can get out of that? job that you don't like, you know?
Mhm.
I where I'm at now in my life is I look back at I feel like there's all these stories that I was told
Yes.
through my parents, through TV,
Yeah.
through all the different media sources that you go to school, you're a good girl,
Yeah.
you know, get married,
Yep. Bye.
you go to college, get in debt, get married, have kids, and that's it. And I did all those things.
Right.
And I was like,
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
not happy.
Right.
And now what, too? You know, there are a point where you're like, I did the end, but I'm young and I look great and I'm, you know, and I'm not happy, but I did everything you told me to. So, like, what? This is not working.
Yeah.
This,
Right.
like, this story that we've been telling society, and what we see, like, I'm not going to get political, but I think we can all agree that things aren't really going as well, like, you know, we have wars and things like that, right? So, like, if we could all just stop being controlled by these puppet stories that are basically being run by these rich guys up here, they want you to believe those stories so they can, like, own you.
Yeah.
And, like, if we can all stop and go, we're not going to play that game anymore, then I swear to God, we will have, like, this utopia, you know, where people is, like, really, like,
I want
That's
2
my plan.
boyfriends.
why not?
that's where I'm at now, where I'm like, all those stories weren't true. Like, I did the monogamous marriage thing.
Well, those rom-coms get you. I love romantic comedies, but my God, like it's not real life.
That's not how it works.
It's not really how
Because
it
after
works.
it ends, then he's kind of a dick to you, and then you realize
Right.
that he has mommy issues. And
Right, he's an alcoholic.
But also part of that story is that what they're telling you, they're trying to feed you, is that, like, you need other people to be happy. You need
Right.
things outside of you to be happy, and you don't. And, like, they don't want you to know that. Like, the commercialism, like, doesn't want you to know that, because then you stop buying things. Because you don't need that car to be happy. You can ride your bike, or you can walk. You don't need that man to be happy, but it'd be nice to have a partner, as long as he respects you. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. Like, they're feeding us this, like,
it's just
garbage.
story. And I look back and I'm like, oh, that was a story, and I believed it. And now that I question everything. Like, anytime anyone acts like they know something 100%, I'm like,
I don't
No,
know.
nobody does.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up for you guys. I know you have that radio show next. Thank you so much.
Oh, you are so awesome. It's really refreshing to, you know, hang out with someone who obviously does love herself and loves her life and
Thank you.
is a trailblazer.
Took me a long time.
Right.
And I'm not even, like, I could date someone tonight and fall right back into
Okay, like you said, nobody knows anything. Yeah. That's part of the living.
But yeah, I've worked really hard to get to this point. And I 5 years ago, never would have done this.
Right.
Never would have been like, hey, will you do, I wouldn't have had a podcast.
Right.
Please. Or written. So thank you. You're inspiring.
Congratulations. It's really cool that you did it, and this is really exciting.
Especially in this small town.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Girl Scout leader. So,
Oh.
Oh, that's so awesome.
so I'm going to have to put like a little intro, like, if you're my child and or
Right.
listen to me.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh, yes. You're good at this.
Yeah, follow us on Reformed Whores at Facebook or Instagram, Twitter. We just hit over 1 million views on YouTube, so we have lots of music videos there, so check those out. And just go to our website, reformedwhores.com.
Yeah.
Oh, and iTunes.
Oh, yeah, all the things. Just Google Reformed Horse.
We hoped you enjoyed this episode, and a big, huge thanks to the Reformed Whores for sitting down with Marisol in their hotel room before their performance. Be sure to check out Marisol's blog at shityoucan'tmakeup.com or find her on Instagram at Marisol Podcast. Me, I'm Sean the producer, and you can hear me on my podcast, Dad Son. Weird and funny conversations between a father and a son about something. We'll see you next time.